Thanks a lot for coming today to come and have a chat with me. We're here to talk about Pimm's today, naturally. My name's James York Price. I'm the European brand ambassador for Pimm's. What that means is I get to go around Europe and try and explain to people what this brand is, what this drink is, and how best to use it, which is quite an interesting job at the best of times. I think it's a drink that's misunderstood a lot, I think. It's a liquid that's misunderstood a lot in the world, and hopefully I can explain a bit more of it for you. First of all, is everybody okay with English? Because my Greek is really bad. I don't mean to alarm you, but I only know a few words, and they're not good. Okay. So naturally, with Pimm's, we have a lot of excitement about our brand. We're very passionate about our brand. There's a lot of jovial jest that goes with it. As you can see, when the day is finished and the evening is just beginning, Pimm's is here to help you remember what your priorities are. Stop rushing from A to B and back again. Leave the washing to itself. All this sort of terminology and all of this kind of playfulness is very much an important part of our brand. You'll be seeing Pimm's o'clock everywhere, and you'll be having all this sort of jest, as we call it in England, about this. For the love of Pimm's, for the love of cucumber even, it's Pimm's o'clock. Pimm's o'clock is a really significant piece to our brand, as in England, we have a different idea of what Pimm's o'clock is. I think we're in a constant state of Pimm's o'clock in England, but that's just us. So ever since James Pimm's mixed a jug of this astonishing tipple in 1840, Pimm's has existed to politely but firmly insist that there are more important things to do than writing a to-do list. What that means is that when we drink Pimm's in England, when we put Pimm's together in our jugs or in our glasses and we're sitting around together, it is a very relaxing way for us to drink. As you know, and probably are very aware, English people are in an enormous rush to drink, and it usually doesn't end very well. So catching up with good friends, obviously a couple of stormtroopers in a pool is quite interesting. I don't know how that would work, but it's all about the unity of the drink. The drink is getting everyone together and enjoying a drink of good quality, and also that's not going to, you're not going to get sort of carried away and start destroying the brand, the image, or yourself. All of these pieces that we have, all of this fun, is what our brand's about. Here we go, Pimm's o'clock. So, to take you through Pimm's, first of all, I've got to explain what Pimm's is. Now, one of the biggest problems that we've got, that I see as a problem in the world, is the misunderstanding of what Pimm's is. Pimm's, in the short answer, is a gin-based drink. It's gin and orange. It's an orange liqueur that we use to make Pimm's. There's a few secret recipes in Pimm's that aren't that secret, I presume. But the foundation of our drink is gin. And not only is it gin, it's Gordon's gin, which is a London dry gin. London dry gin is very important because of our triple distillation process that is used in Gordon's, and also the quality of it, which then blends perfectly with the orange liqueur. So to go back, we have a brief understanding now of what Pimm's is. Where does Pimm's come from? So James Pimm, as we can see here, can everyone see this all right? Does it make sense? I can't see, I've got a spotlight in my face, I can't see a thing. James Pimm was just a humble country kid who moved to London to set up an oyster restaurant. Now at that time, oysters were abundant and were called poor man's food. So a lot of people had access to this. When they were eating these oysters, everyone was drinking gin. If you know anything about that sort of era from the 1700s, 1800s, gin was massively abundant in London. And it was obviously a very strong drink to have whilst you're eating. So Mr. Pimm decided he would try and make a drink that could either go with it or go after it, something a bit softer. The original Pimm's was made up like a punch. He would have had a bowl of gin and a bowl of orange liqueurs, maybe some bitters, some herbs, and you would, at your table, you would have a pewter tankard. Similar to this is later on when it became a glass vessel, but this was more of a pewter mug with a handle. I've got one, but I've left it at home, typically. So you would get to your table and you'd get your bowl of oysters and you'd be eating away and you'd have your pewter mug there. You would take that mug, walk up to him, or he'd come round to you and he would give you a ladle of gin or a ladle of orange or whatever strength you wanted it. Then one day, this gentleman came in, the Mayor of London came into his restaurant and said to him, what is this drink that everyone's drinking? And he went, I'm James Pimm, so this must be a Pimm's cup. Once this happened, the Mayor of London immediately said to him, I want to buy this recipe from you. I want to be able to have this for myself. And he said, well, of course, please do. James Pimm was not a wealthy man. It was perfect for him to take that straight away. So, the Mayor of London at that time then got this bottle. It was a different style of bottle then. It was more like a cognac bottle. Bottled Pimm's and started sending it off around the world. One of the first people it was sent off with was the English Army. And it used to say on one of the old Pimm's bottles, it used to say, served in the officers' mess in Khartoum. All of a sudden, this drink, this humble drink that came from a little oyster restaurant in London, which was probably eaten and, drunk with food by just humble bartenders like us, all of a sudden it was elevated into a place where it was now being drunk by the elite. This was really big for Pimm's. So, here's one of the original bottles. As you can see straight away, Pimm's number one, is a fair bit darker than what it was then. We use a light caramelling to make the drink a bit darker. It's got nothing to do with the flavor, and it doesn't do anything to the overall palate of the drink. It was merely put together as a darker drink to try and sort of space it away from scotches and whiskies and other products. So, naturally at that time, there was a lot of other brands that were in the world and a lot of other spirits that were very important. As we can go through these brands here, you'll see there was a whiskey, brandy, rum, rye, vodka. I've even found a couple of absinthe, tequila. Sadly, a lot of these are all gone now. So, refreshing taste blended with orange and gin. So we've got Gordon's Gin, orange liqueur. Okay, one of the places that Pimm gets its refreshing, distinct taste is from orange liqueur. Not only is it just orange liqueur, it's sun-dried oranges. If you know any way of doing or making orange liqueur, it's usually made from about 4 or 5 different types of orange peel. Some orange liqueurs would be like a Cointreau. Cointreau is used as a couple of different peels as well. It's all about being able to try and balance the gin and the orange together, which is a very complicated thing to do, but I think it works very well. Let everyone come in. Come and sit down, guys, if you want. There's lots of room. So has everybody in this room tried Pimm's yet before? Everyone's looking at me like, maybe. So Pimm's very important to me, and naturally, being the brand ambassador, but it's very important to me because gin and orange liqueur trying to balance that is the same sort of thing of what I do as a cocktail bartender. We're trying to balance cocktails. I think it's extremely well balanced, and it's extremely versatile, so it can be used in a lot of different cocktails as well, like one of your ones, for instance. So, what else do we have going on within the Pimms? Obviously, Pimms is a very secretive recipe that's been handed down for many generations. We try and elaborate more on some of the pieces that gin is made from, and also some of the other pieces that we'll put in. As you'll see here, we use lemon peel, cloves, cinnamon. Curry powder is very vague because the master distiller doesn't really want to tell me too much about it, but it's very good. So balance. Balance is really important because everything that we make has got to be balanced. Pimm's o'clock. So, Pimm's o'clock in Greece. 8 o'clock is very important for what's going on with drinking in Greece. In London, at 8 o'clock, we're usually all drunk and at home and it's all over. In Greece, at 8 o'clock, you guys are just popping out for a coffee. You might have just finished work and you're going down to your favorite place to go and have a coffee or a glass of wine and start your evening. This is a time that I think fits perfectly for Pimm's for Greece. This is a drink that's made with gin and orange liqueur, London dry gin and orange liqueur. Very, very complex and balanced drink. At Pimm's o'clock, you can have what I call a gateway drink, which is Pimm's. You can have a quick Pimm's fizz, and then once your friends arrive, your girlfriend, boyfriend, someone else's girlfriend arrives, you can then have any other drink that goes after it. That's what I call a gateway drink. If I'm drinking Greek coffee and then you turn up and you go, I'd like to have a red wine, it doesn't really go together. So, the tasting notes of Pimm's are as you see. A lot of the appearance in that rich amber, as we know, is from the caramel coloring. It's nothing to do with the flavor, and it's got nothing to do with the overall balance. It's a mere shade to be able to bring the shade of the drink to try and separate it from other drinks. Rich fruity nose characterized by caramelized orange, fresh citrus with subtle yet complex spice notes sitting in perfect balance with herby aromatic gin botanicals. Does that make sense to you guys? Does this make a bit of sense? So the way that I do it, which a lot of bartenders laugh at me, is I go gin, orange, and gin. It's a very clean finishing note to it. I'd love to give you all one. I think there's probably enough of you I probably could. If you haven't tried it yet, come down and see me after and we'll drink some Pimm's. So the taste is a spirity yet smooth balance, complex fruity notes of bitter, sweet, caramelized orange, citrus perfectly blended with sweet, warming, and intriguing, savory spice notes finished with soft, bitter herbs and a fresh citrus finish. Now, this was obviously put together by someone with an amazing grasp of the English language and very, very good understanding of being able to write this down. Pimm's, to me, is something that I can drink and it just relaxes me in the way that I know I don't have to rush this drink. You know, my dear friend Chris, who's here, one thing he tells me about Greece all the time, he says, James, calm down. You're in Greece. You're not in a rush. Relax, okay? We've got all night. It's 7 o'clock. Come on. So that's how I try and think about this drink. Now, when it comes to the serve, when it first came out to Greece, the Pimm's Fizz, which is Pimm's and Sprite, lemon lime and cucumber and lemon, I wasn't quite excited about how it was served. It was getting very much mistaken for a mojito or was being overpriced in certain places. So I decided to try and make the drink stronger. So now the drink is 1-to-1, 75 mils of Pimm's and 75 mils of Sprite. Sprite's really important as well because in England we drink lemonade. Now lemonade is a massive, not like what you have here. The lemonade in Greece is amazing. It's quite sharp. In England it's very sweet. So what we do is we then fill the drink up with lots of fruit and mint to try and break down the sugars. In this country you don't have to worry about that. Sprite is very well balanced with lemon and lime So the only thing that we need to do is we need to make the drinks a bit stronger. You guys drink such strong spirits all the time. I've nearly tried all of them, and I think a fair bit of it's sweating out of me now. But, you know, the drink needs to be a stronger drink because it needs to be palatable to be able to be left. I see it in bars everywhere in Greece. You'll have, you get yourself a drink, have a sip, put it down, talk for about half an hour, 40 minutes, then come back to it. That drink needs to still taste the same. So, I've made the drink stronger. As you can see, we have a jug as well within our serve. The jug is really important to us. Excuse me. It's bloody hot up here. The jug is really important to us, even though it's full of mint at the moment. You can imagine it's not full of mint, and Pimm's maybe. It's really important to us because in England, we have a plastic jug. The plastic jug is mainly given to us because we can't be trusted with glass at the best of times. So, and it's also a bigger jug as well. If you go anywhere in England, if you go to the polo or you go to the tennis, you'll probably see a very sunburnt Englishman walking around with a jug in his hand and a couple of straws. That's how we drink over there. Over here, it's a more calm, refined way of drinking. You guys want to talk to each other, and I get it. So we've decided to make the jug smaller, and we've decided to give you a beautiful glass jug as well. What I've been talking to bartenders about, especially within this Pimm's Fizz, is that the Pimm's Fizz, changing it, which I didn't say before, I apologize, changing it to a wine glass instead of it being in a highball glass is important because of how we want the drink to look and how we want the drink to be enjoyed. With the jug, one of the biggest things that I've said to bartenders is I've said, I wouldn't be happy about giving 4 people 4 wine glasses and a jug. The reason why is if you give 4 wine glasses to somebody in a jug and then pour out those 4 drinks, the jug will be empty, which is not good. It's not good for anybody. So I've said to everybody, try and get 4 smaller glasses, fill them full of ice and fruit. Do not fill the jug up with any ice at all. Do your 400 measure, and then pour the drinks out into small rocks glasses. What that does is, first of all, again, Greeks are not in a rush to drink. They will have 4 perfect drinks, small drinks, sitting on their table in front of them. As soon as they finish those drinks, they will naturally be thinking, oh, we probably need to buy another drink. You won't have to, because there will still be about half a jug left. That means at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, you'll have 2 drinks for the price of, pretty much the price of 1 within the prices I've been seeing around Greece, which is a really good thing to give to your customers. It's also gin and orange liqueur, London dry gin and orange liqueur, 25%, an amazingly balanced drink, liquid on its own before it even reaches Sprite. And you also give them another tie-in, which is, this is all about giving customers value for money, I think. Okay, the Pimm's and Sprite, which is what I went through before, will naturally give you a balance, okay? Within lemonade in the UK, as we went through before, is very, very sweet. So we've halved the amount of fruit that will go into the drink for over here because the cucumber, lemon, and mint has nothing to do with the flavor profile of Pimm's at all. It's a very funny marketing research in the UK when people have been asked, what's your favorite thing about Pimm's? And they've gone, oh, it's the cucumber, I love it. And you go, there's actually no cucumber in Pimm's, it's just what you had in it afterwards, but okay. So, there's a lot of different ways to enjoy Pimm's. I want you to be able to understand, first of all, that there is a perfect balance between the spirits, which is between gin and between the orange liqueur, balanced off with the Sprite and the Pimm's Fizz. I'll go back before it runs off. Perfectly balanced. You can take your time with this drink and then also be able to give your customers something to relax on at about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, when they're coming in to relax, give them a nice drink and give them value for money at the same time. Is any of this making any sense to everybody? Is everyone Does anybody have any questions on Pimms? Don't all put your hands up at once, okay? Does anybody have any questions on the serve? Huh? Okay. So, one of the big things I keep getting asked for in Greece is cocktails. Now, I've got a really big opportunity here. You guys got a big opportunity here to be able to utilize this in the cocktail world and also be able to start off making the first Pimm's cocktails in this country. Now, whatever you need to be able to help you carry on with this cocktail experience, I am here for. So I'd love to be able to I'll give you my card, and I'd love to hear more about it, and I'd love to be able to tell you about some of the things I've made. I don't have them on a slide, but work with me. One of the first things that I've seen in Greece naturally is Greek coffee. There's so many different types of ways of coffee that you guys drink, and it's all amazing. So first thing I tried to think of was trying to make an espresso martini. I don't know how big they are over here, but in the UK, they're a huge drink. So what I've been trying to explain to people is to try and utilize your Greek coffee with Pimm's. Try and utilize what you're trying to do in your cocktails with Pimm's. I've been trying some Negronis. I've been trying a lot of different cocktails. Try and tell me more and give me some intel on it, and I'll be able to give you some information back on what cocktails I've made as well. How are we doing? Okay. Well, guys, I've made a very, very short speech today for you guys. I just want to thank you very much for coming and seeing me. And if you guys need anything at all, please come down and drink some Pimm's, and I'll see you all very soon. Thank you very much.